1916 Sears Silvertone. Silvertone was a house brand for Sears for a lot of their audio equipment like phonographs. Later on it would be radios. I'm IDing this as being 16, or close approximation by that style of medallion that they have on there. Now obviously Sears didn't make this machine. They contracted it to be made by an outside supplier, like they do everything, like the Craftsman tools and the J.C. Higgins shotguns and the whatever else over the years that you see at Sears, Kenmore, you know, stuff like that. Don't know who made it. I know Sal made the motor. It's got the Sal AA motor in there. I don't know who made the rest of it. I was unable to get the pot metal reproducer apart just now. It's still soaking in oil. So I am substituting a HMV all brass number 4, which I'm testing anyway. So we're going to see how it works on the Silvertone, a big floor machine like this. Very similar to Victrolas of the era, with obvious differences. There's no sound doors. You know, there's different tone arm entirely. This has a rudimentary sound control. It's a knob here on the side that you pull out, and that kind of mutes the sound a little bit. Not really effectively, but it does work. This was Sears' top-of-the-line model. It's got the gold furniture in it, hardware rather. Back here, if you see that plate actually says Edison and Pathé, indicating this machine actually came with a separate reproducer that would play those Edison and Pathé records. Those were the lateral cut records. The big, thick diamond disc style, that sort of thing. Well, diamond disc I don't think was around just yet, but the Pathé records and Edison records would be around soon enough. Obviously did not come with that exhibition reproducer. I stuck that there to play with later. Let's see. It's mahogany. It's nicely carved. Lots of little carving features on here. The horn is not quite like what the Victrolas use. It's an internal horn, but it's a different bend to it. A little bit different. It's got the same lid you'd find on a Victrola. Very similar anyway. Take a look at what it looks like. You can see it's not delaminated. Now the doors, the record storage doors, do have issues. It's missing a lot of the laminate, and they've been turned around backwards. Somebody mounted them the other way around. You see the original doorknob is right there. Because of this, obviously, there's a lot of peel on them. So they remounted them. Don't know why, but I guess they figured to do that, they'd sell it better. I don't know. Everything else on the cabinet, the darkened finish is normal for age, but it's actually very good condition. It's very solid everywhere, except this has a few cracks in the grill, which is normal for these, and those sound doors, which actually can be replaced if you could find a donor machine. Now, I did find a donor machine for the motor parts I needed, but the donor had been cut off right here, and it was trashed, basically. The motor was slightly different design, but I cover that in another video. I did mention in that video a comment about the number of washers they used to space it to the motorboard, the motor to the motorboard. Turns out that was really necessary, and someone had taken them out of this one. And I went to put it in, and the turntable wouldn't sit properly to engage the brake. The crank would not line up with it. I was like, what in the heck is going on here? And then I realized what had happened. Whoever had worked on it had taken the washers out. I found a few of them scattered around inside the machine. And I was able to cobble together enough washers, plus making a few of my own, to get the spacing properly done so that everything sits where it should. This is not the turntable that came with it. That turntable is there under those records. It just doesn't have a felt left on it, so I'm not going to use it until I get a purple felt, which is what this apparently had, to put in there. This is off of the parts machine. They used the Victrola felt on it at some point in the past. That's fine. It works. It's got needle cups back there. There's 3 of them. Actually, there's 4. There's one hiding under that exhibition also, which is probably for spent needles. Originally had a lock. No keys, of course. That's 1,000 years gone. It's got wheels on the bottom. You can move it around. And everything is pretty straightforward. It's got the round style speed control, which really only has a slow and a fast marking. So I don't know. I just set it wherever it wanted to be set and left it. It's working. It's spinning at 78. It's got the sort of a conventional Victrola style brake on it. And let's say all of that's the normal style. Here's a story on this. I was in a little touristy town not far from here, closer to New York City than we are, with a friend of mine. We were there for something else, and we stopped in at this little Antique place. Now, I usually ignore these antique stores and places like that. They're tourist traps. Everything is 20 times more expensive than you'll find almost anywhere else. You know, so we went in there. Of course, I'm getting my jollies laughing at the price tags. $20 for this, $50 for a ladle, you know, $100 for this broken wire. I mean, just junk, really. Huge prices. My buddy comes running up and he said, I found one. What'd you find? I found a Victrola. Oh, okay, we'll go take a look. I already know I'm not buying anything in this place, but I'll look. Walk over there, we take a look. And I see this. And I said, well, for one thing, that's definitely not a Victrola. That's one of the off-brands. Don't know which one yet. Open the lid, saw the Silvertone medallion. Okay, that's Sears. It's one of the Sears models that they had made for them. And it's missing the reproducer. There's no crank. I said, yeah, I can see right away. This is not really going to be something that's going to interest me very much. And let me see here. The price tag is still on it. It is being sold for $700. Silvertone phonograph as is. Brake does not hold. Yeah, the brake doesn't work either because they had the motorboard jacked up. $700. So, you know, right away I'm saying, okay, it's time to leave. And he's already gone to find the proprietor. Because I never would have done that because I don't usually buy machines like this. I don't have a lot of parts for them. I don't want to get involved in it. It's too big. I don't have room for stuff like this. You know, a few, and I keep that for my Victrolas. Brings back a nice little old lady, you know, and she says, oh, you're interested? I'm standing right here like I am right now looking at it. I said, well, I see it's missing this. Oh, we have those put away so no one would steal them. Okay. You've got the reproducer, you've got the crank. But I'm thinking to myself, $700. That kind of crack I'm not using today. Thank you very much. And then she says, oh, make an offer, you know, any offer. I said, look, I don't want to insult you. I really don't. You know, I'm not really in the market. I have enough right now. I don't have any room. You know, anything, make any offer. I said, no, really, I'm not. How about $50? What? You're coming down $650? I'm thinking to myself, what am I missing here? That's a heck of a come down. Oh yes, you know, it could be a very nice machine. And then she opens again. There's 40 or 50 records in there, and they go with the machine. I'm like, whoa, that's $50 right there. And I think if she has the reproducer, you know, if all I did was part this thing out, it wouldn't take long to make $50 in parts on this. The brake, the reproducer, the crank, all of that. That's $50 right there. It's more than 50 actually. So, you know, I barely got the words out of my mouth because we did have a minivan with us. And I said, well, okay. Oh, thank you so much. And they, you know, she runs away, gets the missing parts, brings them over. I give her the $50, and the whole shop sprung into action to get us out of there. They're moving stuff out of the aisles. They're dragging this thing to the door. We didn't have to really do much of anything. There's a long store, too, drug it all the way out to the street, put it out there, thanking me the whole while. I'm like, wow, that is, you know, unexpectedly nice service at the place. And then the old lady turns to me and goes, don't worry. There's no really bad karma attached to this machine. He was a nice older gentleman who liked to work on antiques who passed away. I'm like, what? And you know, I didn't process it at first. And so there shouldn't be any real problems. You know, everything will be fine. You know, nothing to be really worried about. Okay, now I am worried. Okay, thank you very much. You telling me, in other words, you sold me a haunted Victrola, a haunted machine, a haunted phonograph. That's real nice. No wonder the whole shop wanted to get it out of there in such a hurry. You know, I'm thinking to myself, and oh man, what did I get myself involved in here? And, you know, I said, okay, thank you very much, ma'am. I really appreciate that advice, yes. And I figured that, you know what, that's going right to the shop. It's not going home, that's for sure. Anyway, as you can see, you know, it's been repaired. I got everything back together. It's working like it should now. Everything's playing well, even though I don't have the proper reproducer on there. It should sound very similar because the Silvertone reproducer does have a rather large diaphragm, very similar to what the number 4 uses. And it probably does sound. I mean, you're never going to get perfect performance out of something that has air leaks in places like this. I put oil in there, thick oil, to try to seal it up, but you know, it is robbing a little bit of volume, I can tell. You know, a bit of it is not there. In any case, my buddy, very proud of himself for finding this, has been asking me repeatedly, that Scott in Florida, he knows who he is, has been asking me repeatedly if I've gotten it together. He even went out and found the parts machine. So I didn't have any excuses. I had to put it together. You know, I found you the parts. I didn't want to pay $80 on eBay for a motor. So he found me the parts and all of that. I said, Okay, you know, we'll get it going. And now it's going. It's done. So that'll make him happy. All right, we are going to play Babyface Gin Garber. And it spins right up. Look at that. Perfect. Okay, let's get the needle on the record and close the lid. And here we go with Babyface. Now, this is a bit of an awkward reproducer setup to get the needles off of. You'll see in a second here, because it only levers up that far. Doesn't flip up like the Victrolas do. Probably another Victor patent that they weren't going to pay for, so they came up with this idea instead. Get another needle on there. We'll flip the side over. A good set of springs, actually, from the parts motor. I mentioned before in the last video that this original motor managed to break both of its springs at once. Something I would have bet money couldn't possibly happen. Because generally you break one spring and that's it. You can't crank it anymore. You can't crank it to break the other spring, but somehow somebody managed. I haven't figured out how yet, but they did. Maybe that's how the haunting started. All right. Oh, let's flip the record over. And what do we got on side B here? That's Why I Love You. Okay.
smile, that's why I love you. Oh, I did love you, my sweet caress. Just fill me a seat and fill my heart with wonderful dreams, sweet dreams of stars above. And I'm in love, that's why I love you. I do.
Well, reproducer and machine are both playing well. And that's a really clean copy of that record, too. No problems there at all. I'll have to put you down here for a second. Yep. No bad karma attached to the machine. Yeah, no really bad karma, excuse me. No really bad karma. It means there is bad karma, but not really bad karma. What bad karma is, I don't even want to think about that, but as long as it's not really bad, I guess we're safe. Okay, let's see what we got next to play. I'll play one more on here. Then we're probably going to run out of video. And let's see. I'll take that off of there. What do we have? Let's try Two Little Rings. No, that's not. What's the side I got? I found a 4-leaf clover. Paul Whitman, of course. Probably should crank it up. I know this machine kind of looks like we stole it from the attic at the Adams family mansion. It does. I haven't cleaned it on the outside at all. This is how it was in the shop. I just cleaned the motor, serviced everything mechanical on it. I have to get some more cotton cleanser before I even think about tackling this, because it's going to take quite a lot of scrubbing. Thought I had more in stock, but I'm a little short. Okay. have to admit, that number 4 really does sound good on there. Good enough that I'll probably mount one on here permanently. Okay, put you down for a second while I play with the needle. Luckily, this tone arm would mount a Victor Exhibition number 2 or number 4. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to play it. 2 little ruby rings. Oh, probably would help if I actually stuck another needle on the reproducer. Yeah, usually does. Okay. And may run out of room on this video. If we do, we do. Not the end of the world. I'll play this machine more later. The haunted phonograph. And there we go. Oh, I never demonstrated the sound door. I mean, the sound system. Okay, here's what we'll do. All right, we'll play a little bit in the beginning of this record. Now listen carefully. When it starts playing, I'll pull the sound. Sound closed. Let's see how that sounds with the lid down. Silvertone.